Gerald, how deep is the hole, the financial hole that we're in right now?
Well, they're talking about these credit swap derivatives, that nobody even knows what they mean. And they're talking about a worldwide issue of being $352 trillion. I mean, who could come up with even a number like that? And even when we talk about that $700 billion bailout plan that went up to $850 billion after the book was added onto it, it's a drop in the bucket. It's a drop in the bucket. This thing is so big. As we mentioned earlier, with the commercial real estate sector ready to unravel now, that's going to make the housing market look small. And we saw, again, current events, George, form future trends. There's no magic in what we do, in the sense that we're just looking at what's unfolding and then calling a spade. Whatever it is, we call it that. And now we're seeing, Circuit City come out? How many hundred stores are they closing down? Was it 120, 170 or something?
Yeah.
And it's just, it's every day this kind of news. This is going to be the worst retail Christmas that anybody could imagine. People are going to really be cutting back.
This is going to be those days where people give a little package of popcorn and say, put it on your tree.
Well, yeah, that kind of thing, too. But it is also going to be something that also comes out of this. People might also begin to start celebrating the day for what it actually means, for some kind of as a holy day of sorts, what it used to be, rather than driving yourself nuts to go buy gifts. So the changes are going to be double-edged here. A lot of people don't like this obligatory gift buying. So, and this hasn't always been the case.
Right.
This is a made-up thing. That was the late 1800s they started this.
It was a retail push.
Exactly. So we have to look beyond the financial sector to see how this thing is really rippling down. They're talking about giving more money to GM and Ford. All of a sudden, GM and Ford are going to become intelligent. They knew that they had to build small cars. It was no secret. They weren't building them, and everyone knows this because they were making too much profit with all these big cars with all the extras.
What's amazing, too, Gerald, is now that gasoline is down to a lower level, cars aren't moving. They're worse than they've been in 45 years.
Yes, that's right. So the hole is too big, again, as we look at it, to fix with fiscal or monetary policy, and it's disingenuous, we believe, for these politicians to say differently. I'll give you an example. On Bloomberg right now, platinum futures in Tokyo jump on outlook for U.S. inflation. Platinum futures in Tokyo rallied for the fifth time in 6 days as rising expectations that the U.S. government will increase spending and fuel inflation. And that's what we're saying. If you want to do more stimulus packages, you want to do more bailouts, you want to create a work projects administration, where are you going to get the money from?
What if he said we're going to go back to the moon and develop this new project? Would that have any impetus at all?
Yeah, it would. If they came out and they really did a serious alternative energy push on the scope of a Manhattan project, yes, I would believe that it could happen. I'm always cynical about both parties, but yes, if it was done even at their level, if they put the money into it and really put the money and effort into it, we could have a new alternative energy that would change the way we live. And it would change the world.
Let's go to the phones. Washington we go, west of the Rockies. Cindy, you're on with us. Hey, Cindy.
Hi, George. Hi, Gerald. It's an honor to speak with you.
Oh, thank you, Cindy.
I guess, first off, I'd like to say that I don't know if either one of you listened to Obama and McCain's speeches.
I heard McCain's and Barack's. I was on the air with a special program, so I only got to read his speech.
Well, that's okay. What they both said was they knew that this crisis was coming. They both knew 2 years ago it was coming. So my belief is that neither one of these men should be president, and that the whole Congress, Senate, George Bush should be in prison, crimes against our country, because they knew and let it happen. Okay, having said that, my call was really, I'm worried about Israel and what will happen with her now. And, I mean, they don't waste a moment pointing missiles at her. And where we stand not only biblically,
Okay, well, I tell you what, next hour would be perfect for that, Cindy. Gerald Celente, of course, right now on economic questions, but I've got John Hogue coming in with his prophetic thoughts of the future. And if you can't get in, I'll ask him that question. Let's go to Tina in Athens, Georgia, east of the Rockies. Hi, Tina, go ahead.
Hi, my question is, what do you think this new administration is going to be for the troops?
The ones in
How
Iraq
are they
and
gonna
Afghanistan?
treat the troops, because my son is one of the troops.
I think it's going to be, well, he said in his the last, I mean, he changes his mind from time to time, but the last one that I heard was 16 months that they were going to bring the troops home. And that could change. I mean, you know, we don't know. And you know, the people say things that they don't mean, particularly in politics. So I think it's going to be a status quo for a while, and if things worsen, I think they may attempt to bring them back quicker. But that would be my take on it. But again, he's also talking about moving more troops into Afghanistan. So the troop situation may be the same, just in a different place.
First-time caller, Dave, you're on with Gerald Celente on Coast to Coast. Go ahead, David.
Hi, George. How are you doing?
Good. We're well. Thanks.
Great. I'm here in the Detroit area. Dick Burton ring a bell?
Yep, he's one of the best, and I know he's still on the air there.
Well, you know, you sound just like him, so I was thinking maybe you two went to broadcast school together.
Well, I listened to him a lot when I was a kid growing up, believe it or not.
Okay, this is for Gerald. Gerald, what is it that makes you feel, or comes to the sentiment to imply to the general public, the general voters out there, that voting is real and not a fabrication established by the ruling elite? That we're actually putting a president in there each term, and they're appointed. They're not elected at all. It's electoral college fraud right up the scale, and that everyone's been deceived.
Well, I would agree. You know, I'm not a proponent of the system on that level, on the electoral college level, nor am I on the lock that the two parties have on the election. So yeah, it's not the democracy, and again, it's not the democracy that they claim. When you look at the vast amounts of money that were raised in order to run this thing, so yeah, it's more of a plutocracy.
Okay, great. Thanks, David. Next up, Dar in Detroit, my hometown. Go ahead, Dar.
Oh, George, it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Mr. Celente, this George Noory, he is brilliant and he's crafty. He starts this program out with Dr. Curtis and the warm fuzzies about the election and giving Obama a chance, and then he brings on you. and what you're doing...
Blame my producers, Dar, not me.
And what you're doing, well, you've got brilliant producers. Keep those producers around, because what you're doing, Gerald, is waking up this dumbed-down American public that neither Obama nor McCain can fix the economy, because the government is the problem with the economy. That, in fact, government powers the desperation of the people who, in turn, mistakenly look to their abusers to get them out of it. And so, well, what do we have? We've got politicians and Obama now at the top presiding over a confiscatory, punitive income tax system that lets politicians take theirs first, rather than being paid when families spend their hard-earned wages to meet family needs. So they're drained of their first fruits, got to go pay H&R Block to file their tax returns to get their money back. And they don't stop there. They tax businesses, which simply creates a pass-along to those same hard-working families in higher prices. And then how do they thank those rich people they tax at progressively higher rates? They call them greedy as they pander to the increasingly plight-ridden working families. I mean, when is America going to get smart when are they going to get smart?